everybody, Allie here with ABC Bead Supply, and I'm here today with a tutorial for you for fall beaded lanyards. This is just a really sweet, I know the silicone lanyards are really popular, using some silicone beads on the satin nylon cord. This is another style of lanyard that has just a very sophisticated look, and the acrylic 8mm beads on some of these honestly look like faux stones. The elegance that they have to them, but they don't have the weight of a stone. So if you were to bead, you know, you've got the mala prayer necklaces and things like that that are made with actual stone, and they're very heavy to wear. The stone, when you put this many on a strand, is very heavy. So this one in particular that we did up for fall just really has a look of stone, but it's extremely lightweight and comfortable to wear. But these are fully beaded 8mm lanyards that look a little bit more like a necklace, but still has an attachment for an ID badge, keys, all of that. Plus we've added a little tassel. So we have three, we've done a tutorial on these in the past, several, it's been probably about 6 months now, but these are some fall versions of them, fall and Halloween for the coming months. So this is a really pretty one using espresso pearls, brown galaxy beads, and tiger eye pearly luster beads. And this is just a very simple one, just using those beads because the beads really speak to them for themselves, have a lot of interest, and again kind of look like faux stone. This is another fall one. This one is a little bit more pumpkin spicy in vibes. We've got the orange cosmic glitter on here, along with the mustard pearls and the mocha jelly marble 8mm beads. And then we've added some wooden beads too to the pattern on here. These are the 12mm wooden beads, and I love the wood beads all the time, but especially in fall, it really adds a nice fall vibe to this lanyard. And then we also have a Halloween design for you. These metallic skull beads really are fun on a lanyard paired with 8mm beads. We did a color combination of the beads for these that they'll match any of the skull heads in the assortment pack of colors. So no matter what skulls you get in your package of beads, they're going to plug in nicely here. So we've got a mix of the skull beads in different colors, and then the black pearly luster is going to be the main color on this. I love this bead for Halloween. It really has some spooky vibes to it, has some nice texture. We've also added violet cosmic glitter beads and some magenta jelly marble, and let's see, matte gold as well. So that is the Halloween version, and that's the one that I'm going to show you because there's a couple tricks to making this one. So we have photos of all three of these lanyards up on our website blog at abcbeadsupply.com, along with supply list links below each of those photos so that you can duplicate them. I'm going to demo the Halloween one. They're all made the same way, just using different beads. So we are going to start with tiger tail wire. All of these materials are available on our website, the tools, the supplies, everything. I start with a 70-inch length. Length is an extremely personal preference, and people always ask me about size and length. My recommendation is to take a piece of string and wrap it around your neck, and then hold it down at your chest or belly button or wherever you want that to hit. People have very, very different preferences on where they want a lanyard to hit. Your height, your weight, your bust size, all of that impacts the length of a lanyard that you want and where you want that to hit on your body. So you know, if you're a bustier woman, the length generally is wanting to be quite a bit longer so it can get below the ladies. And then, you know, it depends. It really is a personal preference. So take a piece of string and put that around your neck, decide where you want it to hit, and then have that be your finished length. Whatever wire you're using, the wire is getting doubled. So that measurement that you take from the string, you're going to want to double it and then add a good 10 additional inches because you need wiggle room and beading room for it as well. So I've started with 70 inches of wire length on this. For these beaded ones. When we do the satin cord lanyards, we start with 48, but this is again doubled. So if we were going by that same length, that would actually be 96 inches of wire to start with. So again, very, very personal preference. I always do those satin ones very long because they can be adjusted. The knots can pull through them and they can be shortened or lengthened by the person wearing them. Whereas these, you're stuck with the length that they are. So if you're selling them, I highly recommend having size options and having people measure and making them to their specific measurements with where they want the length to be. So that's why there's just so much of a length difference between the satin cord and this, because again, well, first of all, I've got to photograph these and demo them, so it takes a little less time for me to make them a little bit on the shorter side. But also those satin ones, I always err on the very, very long side since they can be shortened. Okay, enough about length. So you're going to take the tiger tail wire and you're going to fold it in half, and then this the swivel portion of the lobster clasp is going to go on between those so that it's actually in that the halfway point of the wire, and then that is where we're going to bead onto. So the pattern that I have for this one is 4 pearly luster beads. So I'm gonna show you a couple segments of this and then we're gonna fast forward so you don't have to see every bead being put on, but I wanna talk to you a little bit about the pattern on this one. So the first 4 are gonna be the pearly luster, and then I added a magenta jelly marble and then 4 more pearly luster. So the pattern is 4 a different bead, 4 a different bead on with the black pearly luster. If you're making this longer, the easiest way to add some length and keep kind of the pattern is going to be to do like 5 pearly luster and then stick to the same pattern, but just add an extra bead between each of these rather than trying to mess with the pattern. So we have a magenta jelly marble bead here. Now we're going to do a skull. So when you're doing the skull at this point, you're going to bead into the bottom of your wire is going into the bottom of that skull head because this is the direction that it's going to lay. All right, so for this whole first side, that's how we're putting those skull beads on. So 4 black beads, jelly marble, 4 black beads, skull, with the bottom being the first to go on. And then we're going to go back to 4 of the black pearly luster. And then we're going to switch our color solid to the purple. And then 4 more of the black pearly luster. And then we're going to do another skull, and again, we're going into the bottom. So this is just going to get repeated. The next one is going to be gold. Just changing up those colors that get added on there. And then that is the end of kind of the beads. We're gonna just rotate skull colors from here on out, but that's kind of the gist of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video, and I'm gonna bead on another segment that looks just about like this to get this length a little bit longer, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I have added another section. We've done more of the black pearly luster. We did another skull head, black pearly luster, and then started back at the beginning with the pink, and then another skull head and the purple, just repeating this. So now it's time in this pattern for another skull, right? We've done skull black, solid black, skull black, solid black. That's been the pattern. This is now getting to be what is going to be at the bottom, right behind your neck, the middle of the lanyard. So we're changing up the pattern to get the lanyard to start going around the neck and coming the other direction. So instead of doing a skull, I'm doing a gold 8mm bead. And then I'm going to do the 4 black again. And then I am going to start coming around if this is the back and this is the neck in the middle, now I'm not going to pink, I'm going to purple so that it's across from the purple one on this side. Okay, and then we'll do 4 more black. And then this also prevents a skull from being at the nape of the neck because it's a bigger bead and there's kind of like a pattern and stuff on it. So just a little bit more comfort, but also just to kind of indicate the back of that necklace. So now this whole side of the lanyard, we were putting the skulls from the bottom. We were putting the bottom of the head through. Now we're gonna switch to putting the top of the head through first. So instead of doing this like we did on the first side, we're rotating it and we're going like this. And then that way your skulls are facing the same direction on either side of the lanyard. And then you're just going to continue to repeat the pattern so that it's identical on this side as this side. So I'm going to pause the video while I do that and get the rest of these beads on here. Okay, so I have finished beading all of this side. The beads are all matching up. We've got all of those skulls going the other direction. And so now it's time to finish this lanyard off. So we're going to take a silver crimp 2 bead, which is this just tiny little silver piece, and we're going to add that to the end of our lanyard. And that's going just over both strands like all of the beads. And then we're going to come through this swivel portion of the lobster claw, and we're going to loop the wire around that swivel, and we're going to put it back up through these beads. So the crimp bead and then quite a few 8mm beads. You could, in theory, use a single strand of wire and do this crimp beading method to anchor the wire on both sides. The reason that I've done it this way is doubling up that wire gives you a lot more stability, a lot. So it's a lot stronger lanyard. And then additionally, these crimp tubes secure a lot better over multiple strands of wire. So by putting, this is actually quadrupling the wire up on this side of the crimp, so it's going to be a really strong hold for it. So this is just a little bit of a patience game, getting all of the beads to shift. So we're going to just give a little pull. Wires are a great extension of your hand to help you pull wire through to get the beads tighter. You don't want any slack in the line. So we're just going to keep going, and I'm going to go up. That's really probably fine. You could keep going. I'm going to stop there. If you want to be safe, you could go up a little bit higher through a few more strands, but that should do it. So I'm just going to shimmy these beads around now. So I'm going to push on the beads to make sure that the beads are all, the slack is taken up and that they're taut and tight to this end. So I can see what gap I still need to pull, and that's where my gaps is still going to be at. So I'm going to hold on to the ends of this wire and give another pull, release, and then do the same thing. I'm going to make sure that when I shift all of these beads around and pull and wiggle, that I don't see a gap, and I don't. So that means that I've got it nice and tight, and now it's time to secure it. So because everything is snug, I can now secure the crimp tube using crimper pliers, and that just kind of mashes out that tube and it widens it, it grips it around all of the wires, and then it acts as a stopper. I'm gonna give it some tugs, make sure that it doesn't come undone and that no wire slips through that tube. If it does, I would crimp it again, but it didn't, so that's good. And then you're gonna just take some side cutters and snip the remaining pieces of wire, little tails there with those wire cutters. And so that is the beaded portion. To attach the tassel, you're going to want 2 pairs of pliers, and we're going to just open up this ring that is holding all of the ring pieces together. This is a very heavy gauge metal, so that's why 2 pliers. Your hands don't really pull that apart well. So pliers do a good job opening and closing a heavy gauge like that. And then you can just add that tassel, and then that sucker's not coming undone. That the gauge on that is so strong you don't need to have a split ring or anything like that. So that is the Halloween beaded lanyard that we have for you. This pumpkin spice inspired fall beaded lanyard is similar, but you don't have to worry about how the direction that you're putting the accent beads on the wood, like the skull. The skull, you're just going to make sure you're putting them in the right direction. With the wood, you can just stick them on. So this pattern was just the same every other bead. I did 3 sections of that pattern and then a wood bead. 3 sections of the pattern in a wood. And then this is just every 3 beads the whole way through. Nice and simple. But stunning and elegant. So again, photos of all of these can be found on our website blog at abcbeadsupply.com. We've just restocked a ton of 8mm beads as well as tassel colors. So you can have fun mixing and matching to create your own beaded lanyards like this too.